an extensive background in building and managing security operations centers at large government and business. Currently leads several key initiatives for AT&T Security, supporting key customers, various organizations, AT&T partners, and marketing, the development of security models to help reduce risk, to improve visibility, and to control elements in the network. Please welcome Terry Hect.
They're parking in power at 9 a.m. So tomorrow we're going to have a bunch of our Nevada clients are coming down. We'll have a few meetings. Yeah, I'm excited. I know, we've been hearing about it. Let me know. I wanted to thank you.
Yeah, Scott, no problem.
If we do it next year, if we do it next year, we want to have the live stuff. But this year, thank you. You guys are rocking. Almost just walked away with Mike.
Okay, good morning. Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me today. I'd like to make a couple observations first, and I'll run back and forth to my screen here. So normally, when I give these presentations, it's a fairly mixed crowd. Today, I'm standing in the back room looking forward, and I'm wondering, how technical can this group be? Because I see there must have been a dozen black screens, people doing command line stuff. As I'm watching from the back, I thought, oh, I'm in for it now. This would be quite an interesting conversation. So my name is Terry Hect. I'm a security strategist at AT&T. I've been here a long time. I've done this a long time. I've had the honor and privilege of running several of their security groups. So feel free to ask me some questions. So the first thing I'd like to bring up is people, humans, have hacked things since the beginning of time, right? Fairly straightforward. And you've got to appreciate the first caveman that domesticated a wolf to help him hunt. And what we're doing now with dogs or wolves kind of proves that point, that we've been doing this a long time. So it's not unusual to see people change something for their benefit, to make it different, to make it better. So hacking is no different. People are changing utilities, changing programs to make it a little bit better, to do something different with it. And this will be the test, right? Anybody remember the Morris worm, 1988? Anybody around doing computer stuff back then? Who was the Morris guy? Who was Morris? No, he wasn't. Good try, though. Good try. Yeah. Okay. He was a computer scientist at NSA, the National Security Agency, and his dad was a real big dog at NSA at the time, and he released this worm to help do sysadmin work. Well, he had no checks and balances in this worm, so it would continue to propagate until it just used up all the resources on a device, and it would kill it. So the Morris worm was a pretty big thing. And now we're all the way up to today in the Anthem hack that just happened a little while ago, which was a database exploit, copied all those health records. I'm sure many people in the room were also victim to what they stole. I'm not sure what the implications are quite yet, but it's a pretty big deal. And if you haven't read about it, please do. And there are some recommendations that they put out on what you should go do about it, whether you were affected or not, but please do go check on that. So computer security stuff now affects all of us. It affects you, it affects me, it affects my kids. You're watching your credit report, so please do that as well, just your personal computer security. And it's blurred the lines between what corporate security guys have to do and what people have to do. Because now I'm impacted as well. As just a person, I carry credit cards and I spend a lot of money on them. And I use them in stores, and I call the numbers in, and I'm giving my credit card number to people I don't know all the time, and I'm even giving my little code, right? So now they have all my information, and they can go spend some of my money too, right? So please keep aware of that too. So we're still hacking. This is the evolution of hacking. It's not going to stop today. It's not going to stop tomorrow. The people that are involved in this make more money than you can. I mean, it's the most lucrative business on the planet. It far outstrips drugs. It far outstrips corporate. It just is far bigger than anything we've ever seen. Organized crime's in, countries are in, terrorists are in. Everybody's involved in this now. Hope that's not me. Guess not. Okay, somebody else. Okay. So what are we doing, right? In 2020, this is a Cisco slide. We got some Cisco pals around here. In 2020, we're forecasting about 50 billion internet connections. 50 billion. That's an internet connection, an IP address for everything in the world as big as this chair. Covers the globe. That's a lot of IP addresses, right? So you can tell that we're going to have lots more problems. And as a security guy, this is what I worry about the most. And I just grabbed a tiny OS just as an example. That's actually not a real production operating system, but it gives you an idea that when I give this remote an IP address, somebody left their sunglasses up here. When I give this remote an IP address, right, it won't be able to take a Unix variant OS. It's going to need something so thin that there will be no checks and balances on the operating system. But this remote talks to my laptop, which has my personal information on it. So if I can get into the remote, I can get into my laptop, right? Correct? That's the problem that we're gonna face as society, as industry, as security companies. How do we secure this stuff? How do we get to 50 billion devices, or at least look at what's happening between them? That'll be the big problem. Okay, visibility. So because I come from a carrier, visibility is what I do every day. I look at the connections on my network. Who's talking to who and why? What type of connection is it? What type of port protocol usage is it using? And then I map it. Every day, AT&T looks at this kind of information. That's how we manage the network to 6 nines, right? So when I get a minute or two a year of downtime, I've got to be really good at this. I've got to be really good at this. So we have an entire facility dedicated to monitoring flow data, net flow. Well, a while ago, someone at AT&T, wasn't me, said, hey, man, that's so cool, I could use it in security. Because if I can define what a threat looks like in flow data, I can find it faster using my routers than I can my security appliances, right? Simple. My network is full of them, but I only put my security boxes at the choke points where I can funnel everything through, or I put it in front of the real sensitive stuff. Not getting a right picture. So we've moved this thing to grabbing flow data. And we use that flow data all day, every day. That's my primary tool. Once I get a hit in my flow data, then I can go into my servers, I can go into my firewalls like IDSs and FireEyes and all the other kind of stuff that's out there. I can go look in those things to prove yes or no, but I've really got to see it here first. Feel free to stop me. I know you quizzed the last guy. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so all these black screens from the back, which I found really entertaining. This is what a black screen looks like when you've just been had. Someone just got in, and this is just a Wonder Emporium, crazy little script hack, but it's straightforward. As a security guy, I've got to get the log data, not only from my routers, my servers, my firewalls, I got to get all that data. And this is how I prove what did or didn't happen. I've got to collect this live. Part of that threat process is to go manipulate this data, right? After I've gotten in and I've stolen what I've wanted to steal or I've changed what I've wanted to change, I go edit this log and I take this all out. I delete it, right? You don't see it. So that's why it's important to collect that stuff real time. Know everything in real time. So this is the important part over here. Every application, identity, virtualization, location, and content. So we're getting to multi-factor authentication. Where's my phone? Multi-factor authentication. So when I go to the bank, sorry I walk around a lot. When I go to the bank and I want to use my banking app on my phone, I want it to do certain things for me. Unfortunately, my bank does. Who are you? What do you know? What do you have? And where the heck are you? Right? So when I make a change, when I transfer money, when I spend some money, Terry, are you in San Antonio, Texas, or are you somewhere else? And if I'm somewhere else, they call my phone. That's what I ask them to do. If I'm somewhere else, call my phone, and I'll let you know it was me. The transactions go through, but I get a call when I travel. So my wife takes care of all of it. You know, Terry's traveling, and he's going to be in California today, but you know, they ping me on it. So who, what, when, where. Very important. And we're going to move that same sequence, right? AT&T is doing it already, to our own personal environment, to our corporate world. Where is Terry supposed to be? Well, he certainly isn't in China because he's got a work location in Texas. So that entry, that application, that effort is malicious, and let's stop it, right? Until we can prove that Terry was supposed to go to China for some reason. Common traits. Common traits. Everything today, everybody know what an advanced persistent threat is? Anybody not know? That's a better question. Anybody not know what an advanced persistent threat is? You can tell me the truth. If you don't know, just say I don't know. I'm going to tell you what it is anyway. Okay, an advanced persistent threat. What it is it's somebody that's in your network. It's hard to get them out of your network. I mean, it's just that simple. I got onto this lady's Apple laptop that she's not looking at me. You're looking at me now. I get it on your computer. That's all right. I was picking on you. But because I'm friends, she's friends with 3 other people in the room, they get to go to the other computers as well. So they spread out, right? They move laterally through the network. And that makes them persistent because I'm everywhere. And the threat just means they're not supposed to be there. Okay, so the most common element, they all look normal. I don't come in using some wild high port that you've never seen before. I came in on RDP, something your admin uses all the time. That's how I get in your network. Or I come in via a USB drive. So when I used to social engineer, when I used to social stuff, right, I would walk through the parking lot of hospitals, banks, or whatever, and I would toss USB drives, sticks, on the ground by the door. And then see who would pick them up, right? So when it came up, when someone plugged them in, it sent me a message. It said, this IP address, this person plugged in this USB stick, right? Mine wasn't nefarious, thank God, right? But that was one way I identified to the bank when I wrote the report that you've got a training issue because your people are picking up this stuff in the parking lot and they're putting it into their work computers. How many remember the U.S. Army, they were in Iraq, some major, I think it was a major, I don't know, hope there's no U.S. Army majors in the room, picked up a USB stick, plugged it into the classified network, right? Brought the network down. The classified network for the U.S. Army, in fact, it was for all the Department of Defense, but brought it down. So you know what the U.S. Army's fix was? Think Army. What did they do? What's that? But how did they do it that day? How did I fix it that very day? Super glue. They super glued every USB opening. Put a bunch of super glue in it, fixed it, just like that. Number 2, they avoid detection. How many security guys in the room? What ports, I mean, you're reading it now, so this is cheating for you. What don't you watch? We don't watch outgoing HTTP. I don't have time. I don't have the capability to watch all that stuff, right? So when those bad guys are leaving the network with your good stuff, they're using HTTP or HTTPS. It's encrypted, and you're not decrypting outgoing stuff, and it's heading out somewhere. And it's normally heading someplace that you would normally see. Amazon, it's going to Rackspace, it's going to GoDaddy, it's going to a server farm that you see data going to all the time, and then they steal it off the server. So it's very easy for them to do. So once they're in, they're in. Okay. 4 steps. It's really that simple, right? Each of my steps have a couple. Social engineering, that's how I get in. Nobody's hacking your firewall anymore, or they're so good at it that the rest of the world can't see it, right? I don't see people trying to get through your front door anymore. That really is old school, very old school stuff. So they do a phishing email, or they drop a bunch of USBs. However it is, normally they send an email. They'll send an email to everyone. Maybe they send an email referencing the finance guy said, go buy this stuff. Here's my link to my website. They click on it. It's done. The malware just gets in, and then it monitors the network. I get a bunch of information, who talks to who and why. And then I go talk to one of those people as well. I download my malware there. I'm in on 2 computers. Split it again, I'm on 4 computers. Split it again, I'm on 8. Keeps going. Exfiltrate the data. So now I've got to get it out of the network. I'm looking for something in particular, right? Think Suckstead, where we went in and somebody went in. Let's say it that way. Somebody went in and wanted to disrupt the centrifuge in Iran. So they were looking for something. So these guys are looking for something too. Get the data out, then erase your tracks. That's that system administrator thing. So you systems guys, this is why it's important to tell your boss that I need real-time logs. I can't be pulling it off every 24 hours. It gives them too much time. It's got to be real-time. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Okay. Oops. I went too far. Sorry about that. Okay. So, and it really, the reason I wrote this, I used this previously. The things that I do with my organization, and then they told me that it couldn't be about AT&T. I need to make it about the industry. So I took the AT&T stuff out and I rewrote it like everybody would do it. So really, I'm going to tell the story like I do it. I participate in every bot army. Because I'm the network, I know who all the bot commanders are. Does everybody know what a bot is? Everybody, you know what a bot is, of course you do. So we participate in all those command and control environments. So when whomever sends out we're going to go denial of service attack, Bank of America, right? They send me a notice because I have one of their bots on my network. They say, Terry, we're going to go denial of service attack, Bank of America. So at Tuesday, I want you to download this program, low orbit ion cannon, and point it at this IP address and turn it on. And I'm just a laptop. I'm anybody's laptop. I'm via your DSL connection at home. I could be anywhere. Fortunately, they haven't got to the iPhones yet, but they are going to get to your phone soon, and these will start being a weapon too. So when you see your AT&T bill go from nothing to $600 in 1 month because your data all got used up, you'll know why. Right? So very important stuff. So we participate in every bot army. You should participate as well. Kind of depends on the size of your group. I don't know what you guys have. Monitor all the ingress and egress points. So if you can get it into the network, if you've got a partner, monitor their links as well. So if you're connected via MPLS, you're connected via VPN, wherever you terminate that box, you need to collect that flow data, that log data, and make sure you store it. The next one, catalog and watch the command and control servers. What that means is those bot armies are going to send out commands. Whenever they send out a command, you got to pay attention to what they are. And then the last one, number 4, they're going to steal some data from you. They're here already, right? We are kind of aware of that part now. They're here already, and they're going to take data from you. And if you're lucky enough to see it, it's not too late to fix it. you lost that data, it's gone. But you can go back and, if you're collecting flow data, look around your network, where did it go, who did they talk to, and kind of work backwards and try and clean that stuff up. Any questions? Okay, so this is one of my favorite topics. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the bosses. You got to tell them the truth. That's our job as security guys. We got to tell the truth. We don't have to be, fear, uncertainty, and doubt every day, but you better tell the truth about it because it's important again. Where am I? Am I a baby in security? I've got 3 people, 17,000 users, and you want me to secure the network. Probably unrealistic goal for me. So am I crawling? And if you are crawling, figure this stuff out. Have a plan. What's my plan to be a walker, right? I've got to have a model to follow. I've got to have a policy. I've got to have a plan, right? Have all that stuff figured out. Identify all your tools that you can use, whether they're control or visibility tools. There's only 2 types. Identify those tools that you can use and collect that data. Analyze everything together. We've got to get away from these stovepipes of this device told me something. Don't know if it's a false positive or not, but it told me something. Look at it all together, so that saves you a lot of time. And get some help. That's probably the biggest part. Get some help when bad things happen. Then you go to walk. So what does walking mean? That means I've got a tier 3 person, few people, that I can count on to help me solve these problems when they come up. The best one, the one at the bottom, interface with internal agents. We've had a couple of really big multi-year exploits that's happened in the last few years, and my favorite one to talk about, I guess, is the target hack. Does anybody know about the target hack? Ma'am, do you know about the target hack? Does anybody else? Okay, so those of you that don't know, Target was taken twice. The first time they were taken was a drive-by where they got into the Target network using a Pringles can, making it into a Wi-Fi antenna. You point it at the store, you point it at a Wi-Fi, and you can get access to the network. At least you can see the network, right? So you can be further away. So they get in and they steal, I don't know how many millions of credit cards, but they stole a bunch of stuff, right? And it cost Target $250 million or something, right? $250 million in lost valuation and lost revenue. It's a big deal. A couple of years later, maybe a year later, they're hit again. This time, they use a partner to get in. Target outsources the air conditioning control of all their stores. People that manage the temperature in the store. That simple, right? But that third-party server talks to Target finance and billing. They got to get paid, and that's how they rationalize their bill. They send that bill into directly. I'm a partner. I'm trusted. I can be here. Send it right into the finance group. Of course, finances connect to everybody else. Another 65 million credit cards out the door, right? And what is Target's CEO doing now? Something else. Out of there. You're fired. So it happened to Target twice, happened to Home Depot twice. The best thing about this lesson that Target learned, in event number 1, they had really poor public relations. They didn't come out to the industry. They didn't come out to their consumer. They didn't tell us about it until we found out about it. So they took a big sting there. The second time, they went to the public relation guys first and said, hey, we had a problem last night. We need to get out to the press. And they told us all about it very quickly. And then the last one, and this really I kind of reserve for the big government agencies, the big state agencies that have the funding to do this kind of stuff, right? Normally you're a pretty big organization. Comprehensive SOC tools. You've got a couple of facilities, just, on different energy platforms, all that kind of stuff. You're very distributed. Domain expertise, a dedicated team, right? Best of breed partners, all that kind of stuff. And you're really I even call them carrier class type of SOC. I got 1,500 guys, and that's kind of carrier class. That's kind of table stakes if you're a Verizon, CenturyLink. You've got a big organization that supports you. This is the picture, and I'm going to give you my wow comment. From this side of the screen to this side of the screen, how far do you think that is in yards? How many yards is that? Anyone? 270 yards side to side. And those are screens that monitor the AT&T network. And each of those screens, 5 by 10. They're enormous, right? So this is really cool stuff. Very high-end SOC. And it really is, they built it for the wow factor to bring people in for tours, but it really is pretty cool. The network backbone. So you've got a network, most of us have a network. Monitor the network, all that router data, all those server data, monitor all that stuff. You can't go wrong. Keep all that flow records, and then baseline your network. What normally happens here, and you got to have flow to do it, but what normally happens here, and did something new happen, and if something new happened, why did it happen? Who said that could happen? We got to go figure that out. Okay, that's good. Any questions?
Do you issue a telescope or binoculars to the people sitting in the middle there?
Say that again.
Go back to the slide. You're 200
Oh,
yards high.
yeah, it's quite a facility.
So do you issue binoculars to the people that are sitting in the middle?
They don't really work on those screens.
Exactly.
But if you can see the top here, see this little moniker at the top, that little slide? If you look right straight across, there's like a visitor center right behind there, and it's got stadium seating, and you look down on there, it's one-way glass. It's really very impressive facility, so it is really cool. Any questions?
Where is this?
This is Bedminster, New Jersey. Yes, sir.
You talked about monitoring network on a university campus. You're going to have a lot of network data, so lots of storage. What do you use to look at all that?
So there are lots of commercial tools. Yeah, so the gentleman asked that on a university campus, you're going to have tons of NetFlow. And honestly, you're no different than any other network. To me, the type of network, whether you're a campus, a big organization, flow data is really flow data. How do you analyze it? How do you store it? All that kind of stuff. So there are lots of tools out there you can use. Lots of vendors, right? Just do network monitoring. And you run the application to, there's my phone right there ringing. You run those applications to do those algorithm searches. You can't possibly do them visibly. It's just, the data is just too ugly. It's too hard to deal with, right? So you've got to run a program. But it's really important that you capture that data. And then once you don't really store it in raw format, you make metadata out of it and just store the roll-up. So you wouldn't keep, nor is there really any need to, the actual raw content. You just roll it all up, right? So keep it as metadata.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the privacy policy around that?
Well, there isn't really. So if you ask NSA, right, it's just flow data. There's no identifying information in it, right? It's packet to packet. How big is the packet? All that kind of stuff, right? So it's
IP address to IP address?
yep, IP address to IP address.
Okay.
So internally on a network,
That's not identifying information?
no, it is not. But and especially when it's on the WAN because it's all 192.168 stuff, and that's not identifiable. Yes, sir.
So, NetFlow versus SFlow, is SFlow useful?
SFlow.
That's not every single packet, it's not
That's.
less overhead.
I've got two types, at least in my network. I collect Cisco data and I collect Juniper data. So NetFlow and JFlow. That's all. So I've never seen SFlow. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
How long is your NetFlow retention? How long do you keep it?
I keep my NetFlow almost indefinitely, right? So I've got it 7 or 8 years worth of NetFlow data. I do the same thing with every DNS query. So I've got DNS queries that go back a decade. So I can see all of these calls from malware out to different organizations going back a decade. They keep it all. And AT&T gets subpoenaed for data all the time, so I would say no. I don't have any concerns. Yes, sir.
You talk about joining lots of botnets.
Mm-hmm.
How many people does it take to monitor all those botnet memberships? And you get membership cards?
You do get a membership card. No, you go out and find those command and control servers, right? And it may be almost impossible for you guys to find them all. But whenever you do find a botnet on your network, keep that. Don't get rid of it. Maybe move it to your lab organization and keep it on a lab box. And you can put them all on one lab box. But you want to get those messages from those botnet commanders saying, we're going to go do something, right? A, you don't want to participate in any of that nefarious activity, right? So you don't want to own any responsibility in bringing down a bank or bringing down a whatever. You don't want to own that responsibility. They can't really sting you anymore on it, but once upon a time there was an opportunity to do that. Anything else?
Time for one more question.
Yes, sir.
In regards to the botnet stuff, so as a carrier, if you guys are watching this, are then you guys acting on this?
Wouldn't that be
information
awesome?
you know,
Have you heard of net neutrality? Yeah, so net neutrality, even before they finalized their thoughts on net neutrality just a few weeks ago, the government told us that it's not our position nor our place in the world to define what is or what is not appropriate on the internet. And in all places, it's not illegal to hack, amazingly enough, right? So who am I to say that that guy from China can't get into your bank? What do I know about his intentions, right? So I can't do anything about it. Unless, of course, you get a service that says we can automatically. Any other questions? All right, great. Well, thank you all very much.